Well, good evening. My name is Chef Carol White, and I'm one of the fellows out of the 10, and I am so grateful to be here in your presence. For those of you who have not had an opportunity to meet and greet me, I am someone who grew up right here in Maple Heights, Ohio. My father was an engineer. My mom worked for the government, military included, and I was mostly homeschooled. Well, I left here at the age of 14, and I lived in Israel for 18 years. I started very young with my culinary journey. I worked under many masterful chefs, and in exchange for working in Israel's largest tofu and ice cream factory. Well, on this journey, I met a guy. He was right out of Shaker Heights, a graduate of Kent State fashion design program, who was teaching beauty inside out through wellness and sustainability. That's Mark White. Well, here we are, 21 years later, but that's another story. So let's fast forward to my return to the US. I was 32 years old, arriving here for the first time as an adult, and my family size was of about 6. With much global exposure and great skill, I was still challenged with learning how to feed my family and send my children to school with packed meals. We were 100% plant-based, and you can call it vegan, plant-based, all those terms, but we were like whole food. Like if you didn't make it, we didn't have it. So I made tomatoes. We harvested tomatoes, made tomato sauce. So that's how I was used to preparing and cooking. And now I'm here trying to figure out like, okay, now I'm sending breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack because 80% of what they were providing at school wasn't sufficient. Yet, this was my hometown. This is America, right? This is supposed to be the great way. But we were forced to depend on, at that time, government assistance. Now, let's do some numbers. $589 was a monthly allotment for a family of 6. We had $19 a day. That's about $3.20. Because remember, they're feeding you breakfast and lunch free at school. So that was your dinner, $3.20 a person. It didn't work. And remember, I'm doing 3 meals. I had little children. We didn't do formula. We didn't do any of that stuff. So it was a challenge, if you can imagine. And then I started thinking, wow, how many people like me are actually struggling trying to figure this out? Many were forced to just go with some of the overly processed foods that are being served, or just kind of go with what's considered the norm. It was my year in Savannah, Georgia that really planted some seeds. I worked at America's Second Harvest Culinary Kitchen, and we worked side by side a food bank, and there was a team of us that were privileged to feed the children within schools 3 meals a day, because they also realized that if your children stayed in aftercare, they were at school till a lot of times 6 or later, right? So those children had to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hot meals, because they found that many children were going home, their parents are getting off work, and they were tired, and they may not have even got a bowl of cereal that night. So the program provided those 3 hot meals. This planted a seed, and it made me think like, wow, how essential it was for children to get nutrition. Now, the rest of us need to eat too, but, we are looking at the children, right? So I had never really seen what food insecurity looked like. I had never really known what a food desert was. I had not even faced making financial decisions that could have a negative impact on my health. Now, we know that healthy eating habits have been linked to better mental health, which is essential for learning and academic success, while refined sugars and diets high in processed foods have a negative impact on our cognitive function. Now, why wouldn't we serve the best to our babies, our seniors, our children, our loved ones? So Shine Bright is a food justice initiative that represents an enterprise and eventually a nonprofit. Shine Bright's name represents a sense of positivity, hope, and empowerment. highlighting the organization's commitment to addressing the systemic inequalities and injustices that exist in the food system overall. We are building a team of advocates that represent multiple perspectives. This advocacy team dedicated to creating a more equitable and sustainable food system, and one that's promoting positive change in community through education and action. Shyne is developing a curriculum and a list of services that organizations and facilities can use to improve the quality of ready-to-eat meals that are served. Now, this would include your senior facilities, your daycares. Within regulation, they still need help. So they would be able to decide either they want to use our service or they need to train their staff and have a curriculum that shows them how maybe they can make breaded chicken nuggets or do different things so that they're not using overly processed foods. Maybe they got to go back to the old school, like cooking in the kitchen, making the food. Might work a little better that way, right? And we'll also bring in our local farmers and merge a lot of organizations that are already doing this work. By fall of 2024, we plan to have 20 facilities using our curriculum or services. We'll be collecting data and developing a system that is scalable. Because I believe a plan should be sustainable, I've started out with a product, which is my granola over here. You can buy a purple bag for $5. It's 8 ounces of granola. You can also donate any amount and you would get a gold bag. So we have a website. You can purchase the product, and this is so that we can pay out and give stipends to advocates and volunteers who help and assist. This would also keep our business structure going. So we want to come up with a model that is fully self-sustaining, but right now we're going to need a little help, whether it's grant funding or donations. We're looking to raise $35,000 to $50,000. Again, our model will be self-sustaining, and whether you're donating to Nourishing Powers Fund or to each of the fellows directly or both, please give your feedback, your impact. We want you to be a part of what we're doing. This isn't just another idea, just another initiative. These seeds were planted. This is like a passion fueled by my family's personal experience, but I've also seen so many others who need the same help. They don't always know where to start, and they don't always have the resources. So it's you that can help us all make that impact of change. So Shyne is here to serve delicious and nutritious food for a better world, one meal at a time.